Welcome back to Giant Freakin' Robot. The 90s. Before blockbusters were only allowed to be superhero movies or legacy sequels, the 90s offered a plethora of original big-budget genre adventures that audiences were willing to take a risk on. I'd give anything to go back to a decade when movies like Tremors, Anaconda, and Deep Blue Sea were given substantial budgets and a chance to shine at the box office.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
One such movie that didn't quite work out back then is Event Horizon. Directed by the guy that made the good Mortal Kombat movie, Fight Me, I Know Fatalities.
Your brother's soul is mine.
Event Horizon tells the story of an experimental spaceship that went mysteriously dark on its maiden voyage, and the crew that's sent to find out what happened. The scientist behind the spaceship's experimental new engine, Dr. Weir, is hiding some secrets from the team's captain, Miller, and his working-class crew. And once they get to the ship and discover everything that happened, all hell starts to break loose. Quite literally. A familiar enough ghost ship tale that's much better than Ghost Ship, Event Horizon decided it wanted to up the ante by being one of the more ambitious sci-fi horror films theaters had seen in a while. And that's when things started to look shaky. With a reported budget of $60 million, that's almost $120 million today, cha-ching! Event Horizon is an expensive production with tons of elaborate sets and effects. You need time to pull that all off. And wouldn't you know, Paramount, who greenlit such a massive financial undertaking, ended up rushing the shooting and editing of the movie. Why? Blame James Cameron and his Big Boat movie for not making its scheduled release.
It's an experience. It's an emotional experience.
Forcing Event Horizon to squeeze a lot of what it wanted to do in much less time.
Yeah, we had 10 months, and the reason for it was originally there was going to be a later release date, but Paramount had Titanic at the time. Titanic was supposed to be their big summer movie, and then Cameron told them they weren't going to get it until Christmas, at which point we became their big summer movie.
Supposedly, this even led to the film getting heavily edited down from director Paul W.S. Anderson's original vision.
You know, we got the summer slot that Titanic would have had, and Titanic obviously is more of a kind of four-quadrant family, rounded entertainment, whereas we were a rather distressing and disturbing horror film that probably would have been better at a much different time of year.
A rushed production doesn't always lead to a failed final movie, but it certainly doesn't help things, and it definitely didn't help here.
So the movie was way too long. I just hadn't had enough time to shrink it down, and it was gruesome. And all the people from Paramount, I think, were just really shocked by what they saw.
People were fainting.
It probably also didn't help Event Horizon that it didn't have the star power to sell itself to the widest audience possible. Look, we all love Sam Neill. I did an entire month about him on my show, GenreVision. I wish he was my dad, but even just 4 years removed from Jurassic Park, he was not an actor that audiences followed into riskier movies. And Laurence Fishburne, though well-established and respected by that point in his career, had yet to become even more known and beloved thanks to The Matrix.
Free your mind.
Cowboy Curtis wasn't moving tickets, sorry. And while the rest of the cast are solid and enjoyable actors, none of them were going to get folks to go see a movie where this happens. And that's likely a major factor why Event Horizon failed at the box office. While sickos like me are always going to be down for Hellraiser in space. Wait, no, not like that! Event Horizon's big concept is a tough sell to regular moviegoers. See, the Event Horizon is a ship that can fold space to travel incredible distances in an instant.
Point A and point B coexist in the same space and time. When the spacecraft passes through the gateway, space returns to normal.
The problem is that this requires opening a portal to a hell dimension. Oops! And eventually everyone ends up attacked or possessed by an unknown evil force. There's lots of haunted house horror fun to be mined from that situation, and Event Horizon does manage some legit spooky moments along with all the extreme effects. But audiences aren't usually hyped for this kind of genre mashup. They were too busy that weekend in 1997 going to see Copland, which, yeah, I don't blame them. Copland rules.
You blew it!
Still, Event Horizon being an original sci-fi horror with a less than superstar cast that was trying to do something a little out there after getting crunched by the studio, the odds were definitely stacked against it. And Event Horizon tanked at the box office, opening at the number 4 spot just ahead of third week showings of Spawn. Spawn! Maybe the 90s weren't as great as I remembered. It languished at theaters until being pulled after making $26 million domestically, less than half of its reported budget. Ouch. As far as the bean counters were concerned, this flick was an unquestionable failure. But what about the audience that did show up? What did they think? Well, they were not kind to Event Horizon at all. CinemaScore is a polling company that asks paying opening night audiences to give the movie they just saw a letter grade. Because I guess movies are the same as math homework. And the average grade their respondents gave was a D+, which is pretty abysmal for them. Just to give some comparison, the CinemaScore for Spawn was a C+. Not to mention prominent film critics didn't help the movie's reputation. Roger Ebert gave Event Horizon only 2 out of 4 stars, noting it takes inspiration from the iconic Stanisław Lem sci-fi tale Solaris.
I did like the production design. It's a great looking picture. And I thought the actors did what they could, but the dialogue is very thin.
Okay, that might be a bit of a fair criticism, Roger. But that 2-star rating definitely hurt the movie's perceived value to a certain number of educated film fans. Well, I'm sure he gave Spawn an even lower number of...
I thought this was an extremely interesting movie.
Really?
3.5 stars, Roger? 3.5 stars? Out of 4?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Thankfully, the story of Event Horizon didn't end there. The movie did surprisingly well on home video, and Paramount even tried to get Anderson to restore the footage that had to be jettisoned due to the rushed production. Sadly, those elements were either destroyed or couldn't be located. This mythic version of Event Horizon that we'll unfortunately never see helped get fans even more interested and supportive of the movie. Nowadays, Event Horizon has gotten much more love than its initial theatrical run. There's a loaded collector's edition Blu-ray, a 4K ultra high definition release. You can find plenty of videos online where fans dig deep into the movie and its production. And Christopher Nolan might even be a fan, as the memorable wormhole demonstration scene carried out by Sam Neill gets a bit of a nod in Nolan's own Interstellar.
So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through a higher dimension.
And as of this recording, an Event Horizon television show is still being developed in the hopes of giving the story more room to play around with its warped ideas. Clearly, the film has carved out a corner that sci-fi horror fans still want to visit. Suffice to say, Event Horizon was a failure that proves box office is not what makes or breaks a movie's legacy. Though it took a while, Event Horizon crawled out of the mess of its theatrical run to become a legit cult favorite that new fans are still discovering today. It just goes to show that the movies and stories that matter will find their way to the audience that wants them. Now, if they can just get this new Anaconda movie right, I'll be happy as a... Oh, son of a bit! Thank you so much for watching. Are you an Event Horizon fan? Let us know what you think of the movie in the comments and what movies you'd like to see us explore next. If you'd like more Event Horizon talk, check out the GenreVision episode where we put it up against John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. Ooh, fun. And subscribe to the Giant Freakin' Robot YouTube channel for even more dives into science fiction movies and TV. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here at Giant Freakin' Robot.